right, we are live. Let's see if anybody joins us. We had I put out some questions earlier, or a call for questions, just in case anybody wanted to tune in and talk about the topic of having experts on your videos. It's a really novel idea. I don't think a lot of attorneys do it, but there's so many different people that you can ask to be on a video with you that even if you don't, it's not in the same industry even, there's ways to make it worth the watch for all the different people who tune in. And right before we got on, Josh, you had a really good example of an attorney who had a local insurance agent on.
Yeah, so the lady was a client and she was in a bad accident. And so having her in the office and doing some random, testimonial type videos with her, she talked about her job, and she's an insurance agent. So we're like, oh my gosh, like that's kind of crazy, because you're used to, being in this situation, but on the opposite side. So, and we started asking her these questions, like, how are things different, or is it what you expected? And it was actually really interesting to get her feedback. And so we're like, let's do some videos. And she was like, heck yeah, let's do it. It's amazing. So she was excited just because, she wanted her own content for what she was doing, so it was kind of, really killing two birds with one stone, because we were getting the content that we wanted, but also, she was getting stuff that she wanted to share. So it was really, it was the same piece. And I think that she ended up putting some stuff on her YouTube channel, and then we did as well. But yeah, it was a perfect relationship with that, because she felt important that we reached out to her and we asked her, like, hey, you're basically a professional, an expert on this subject. Can we ask you some questions about, kind of being on the other side? And she was all down for it. And it was, that was kind of the first time that we, started getting our clients involved in different videos other than, the mediation videos, the testimonials and stuff like that. It's kind of another way to bring them on board and kind of use their perspective to kind of help tell your story, but also doing something for them that they can use on their own.
Yeah, and it's, I think that the hardest, sometimes the hardest part of the ask is I think people just naturally think that there's something that you're going to ask them for, right? So when you do ask, making sure that, hey, there are so many benefits to you. And that's the point. Like, that's what we're just trying to highlight you. We're not asking for anything in return. And sometimes I think that that's a little foreign to people, because they're so used to saying, okay, well, do I have to pay to be on, or am I going to have to give you something? But it's not. I mean, I'm sure that she was really thrilled, just
Absolutely.
to be asked.
Yeah, and she said that she actually got some calls as far as people that were watching our channel that called her for insurance purposes. And I think, it helped her business out just by having, she's getting seen by more people. And it's almost like a referral that you're doing for her. You're sharing your client's business, what they do, to your audience.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be an insurance agent. It could be somebody that owns a restaurant. It's a local restaurant that maybe nobody knows about, and their accident has impacted what they do there. And maybe it's not an accident. Maybe it's a friend, or, somebody at the law firm's family member, or whatever it is. There's always a cool story there that, at bare minimum, that you can share their story. Because at the end of the day, that, the fact that you kind of went out of your way to do this may bring you a load of cases later. The fact that you're, it's almost like paying it forward first.
Yeah.
Really. And you kind of expect for those things to come back later on, because you're going to, leave a, good taste in somebody's mouth because you're doing something great for them.
Plus, it gives you something else to talk about instead of the same old, I mean, let's face it, especially in the personal injury world, if you're a personal injury attorney, there's only so many things that you can talk about by yourself on camera. So having the experts like, oh, there's all other things that you can discuss. We came up with a list of just ideas for everyone out there. Family, I know this doesn't necessarily apply to everyone who's listening, but family doctors, they can talk about why it's important for patients to let the family docs know about accident injuries. We just used the example of insurance agents. Ask them, think about, okay, what's something that's important that my viewer can take away from this conversation? what are what should your policy look like? What is an example of good coverage? What are some horror stories that you saw, maybe where you had a client who declined coverage and then something bad happened, or they had good coverage and it saved them from dealing with problems X, Y, and Z. Insurance adjusters. I know the one woman you were talking about was an insurance agent, but she would probably be able to recommend some insurance adjusters who would be great people to interview. Here's how we decide a claim. Here's what we're trained to tell you. If our insured caused the accident and you call us up asking for us to pay for the bills, here's what we're trained to tell you, right? And meaning, what is the viewer going to take away from that? They really do need a lawyer, right? They need to have somebody in their corner. This is kind of a unorthodox suggestion, but detectives or police officers who are in charge of accident reconstruction, have them walk you down the street and say, like, look, if an accident happens, these are all the things that we do, right? And it'll kind of position the attorney who's interviewing that police officer as somebody who actually goes out of their way to learn about these things and find out all the different pieces of evidence that you'll need to make the case successful. Car mechanics or body shop owners, important things to know after your car is in a wreck. How many times have you had an insurance company say, well, you have to get your car fixed here? Well, that's not necessarily true, first of all. And second of all, why it's important for car owners to know, like, my body shop guy needs to be looking for all of these different things. Even though it looks like I was just rear-ended and it's a little scratch on my fender, have them get underneath the car and say, look, here are all the different things that could possibly be wrong. Again, these are just things to talk about, just ideas, but local celebrities in your town, the guy that's always on TV, maybe it's a real estate agent who's always around town, who has a great following on Facebook or, a ton of followers on Instagram. Interview him. What is it that he loves about the hometown that you live in? Where does he like to go? What's his typical Friday night like? Where does he like to take the kids on Sundays? You had mentioned earlier, restaurant owners, brag about their food, share their recipes, go into the restaurant. It's nice things to talk about. Other local business owners, even if it's a bakery or a pool shop, or, really anything at all. The common goal is that you guys are talking about the community that you all live in anyway. So why not highlight things that don't even necessarily have anything to do with the law?
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to approach them, and especially if you already have them in your office anyways. Like, say they just got their check and you're filming their testimonial. Ask them a few other questions about what they do.
Yes.
And maybe some standalone questions that you could say, hey, this is a great opportunity for an extra video. We're already shooting it. We don't mind editing this for you and giving it to you. You're already here. So it takes an extra 5 to 10 minutes to get the content from them. But you could also do kind of like a conversation, put it to the side, film both of you kind of talking, and you can kind of, share your side of things too, because we've talked before about, anybody can talk about themselves and how great they are and what they do, but hearing it from somebody else means so much more. So, this restaurant owner you're sitting down with, asking them, how does it feel now that you're recovered? You can finally get back in the kitchen and do what you're passionate about. And they're sharing this and say, yeah, I just love your food. I was there the other day and they have the, most amazing sushi roll ever. Whatever it is, it's like you're giving them your own kind of review.
Yes.
It's like this built-in collaboration piece that you're going to share, they're going to share. So you're probably going to get a link from their website too. You're building backlinks at the same time. And so I'll call it like a whole package deal here. It's a great opportunity to, create some meaningful content.
I think too that especially when it comes to other local entrepreneurs or other local small business owners, they don't have the budget for marketing, right? Just like you as a small business owner, or even the mid-sized business owners, you don't necessarily have all this extra cash to pay a high-end videographer to come in and create content on every single new dish that you put out. Of course you don't, right? And nor would you want to spend that kind of money anyway. But if you have, even just these small little videos where you say, hey, one of your clients is a restaurant owner and you want to go in once a month, here's the dish of the month. How much would they love that? And then they would be able to have a highlight of all of those things for little to no money. And they end up with a free marketing piece too, that they can share wherever. They can cut out, it's not like you have to put the attorney's logo right on the video. They can leave their own.
And they could also send you pictures and videos and stuff that you could edit in. So like, for example, when you go on the news and they're highlighting some special event or new business that's open, they usually, sometimes they don't go out and shoot stuff. They take something that you already have on your Facebook page. They put the pictures in, they do a little like zoom in type stuff, real simple, easy. Have them send you photos. Have them send you stuff of them with their kids, being a family man or whatever it is. Stuff that you can use to kind of tell their story, and it's not just them talking. But again, they're like, they can choose. They can grab the pictures that they like, that they look good in, that they're going to send you. So you don't have to worry about picking ones that, they may not like as much or whatever. So yeah, definitely ask them if they have anything that they want to include in there. Also, is there anything that you want to share, and kind of leave an open mic for them to talk about whatever they feel relevant. And always, definitely ask them about your relationship with them, maybe for your side of the video or something else. Why did you come here? What is it for you that, we're a local attorney, you're a local business owner, how does that play into your factor of hiring someone like us? So, there's a ton of different things that you could talk about. I think it all depends on the time commitment that they're willing to invest in being there and sharing with you. But yeah, the possibilities are really endless.
And if you have somebody who's in-house, you have a marketing director, or you have somebody who works on editing your own videos, paying that person for 2 hours of their time to work on a video for that other person, yeah, maybe it costs you, okay, let's say you pay that person $20 an hour. It costs you $40. That $40 that you're spending is so invaluable to that other person that the referrals that could potentially come from that $40 investment on your end is going to be worth so much more than the little amount of time and money that you spent on it to give them that as a gift.
Right. And it's really community marketing, it's something that you're doing for somebody else, but also kind of piggybacking off of it, not really looking for the praise and the glory.
Exactly.
You're being the good guy and sharing the story. And that's really what it's all about. So yeah, this is one of our clients, and potential clients in the future are going to say, wow, that's really cool. Hey, I own a business. I want a video like that. I better hire people so I can, they can talk about me and put me in their newsletter, because that's fantastic.
Right. And when you were mentioning that a lot of the news stations, they don't necessarily go out to those events. They accept photographs or footage of the event in lieu of them actually being there. That is one more reason, I know it's a little off topic, but another reason to always let the news know when you have something cool going on, right? If you have an event or anything, don't be afraid to send a press release, because how many times did you and I send out press releases for Bikes for Kids? And the news stations would say, hey, we can't make it out there. We have something else. Send us photographs, send us footage from when you were out there. So we would go, even if you had cell phone footage, you can send them that. They put it on the news. To the general public, it still is worthy of being on the news.
Yeah, 45-second segment anyways, so that, a couple pictures, they can add little effects and they're talking about it. It just breaks up their content, something they can show and share. That's really the point. That's what they're looking for.
It's a brilliant tip. So how do you ask these people? Obviously highlight what is in it for them. We just talked about all of that. And just remind them that it really is to educate the community. It's to show them all the great things that the expert has going on in their own worlds. And, it's really just to help the viewers and help the community. We suggest calling that person up directly and making an ask over the phone. And then if you can't get a hold of them directly, following up with an email, or following it up with an email anyway after the ask. And then make sure that they're prepared. Make sure that you do everything that you can to prepare that guest so they don't feel so nervous. A lot of times people might be hesitant to say yes or to agree to do a video because they don't know what to expect, and they don't know what to say. They don't know what to wear. They don't know how they're going to look. So if you take all that guesswork out of it for them, it'll make it a lot easier and more likely that they'll jump on board.
Yeah. And plus, once you start doing these, maybe you can build a playlist and start calling it something like a little segment. You can send them an example. and say, hey, this is
Hmm.
what we do. This is somebody else, like you, the insurance agent video that we did. Say, hey, we had her come in. This is kind of what she shared. Feel free to talk about whatever you'd like. We just want to kind of promote you and your business and really thank you for being our client. So this is kind of us giving back to you, and kind of letting you share whatever you feel relevant. So yeah, just giving them some talking points, give them a heads up, obviously, but taking your FAQ list that you may have, your video wish list that's 7 pages long, and you say, hey, what questions out of here would they be best to answer? Is anything relevant that, it would mean more coming from a doctor versus an attorney? You can apply that to really any, job title. So yeah, it's really just kind of thinking outside of the box, saying, hey, oh, you're a, and I think now too, especially with, the pandemic situation going on, so much stuff has changed, and just
Yep.
maybe sharing their procedure, that how they're being more safe, or, anything as small as just, yeah, we wear masks, and we're, people just love hearing that, knowing, kind of peace of mind. So yeah, I think now more than ever, people are willing to, kind of get on the horn and let people know. And this is a great way to reach a lot of people.
And it's so easy too that I think people are getting used to Zoom conferences and creating, like you and I, we're not in the same room right now, right? We're doing this all on Zoom. So sending over a list of talking points or talking about those talking points ahead of time, and then sending them beforehand so that you guys each have this, way to communicate on the video. It's super helpful.
And also, take it one step further, and you got this video, and maybe there's stuff that you don't use, but now you've got all this dialogue that you can turn
Mhm.
into a blog, or a newsletter article or something, that you can kind of regurgitate the content, and use it everywhere. So
After the video's over, obviously you're going to be appreciative that they took the time to jump online with you, or jump in front of the camera with you. So take the time to send a handwritten thank you card. We're big fans of all the handwritten stuff, so thank them, but also make an effort to tag them on social. Do a nice little post. Make sure you uh, share whatever you do happen to do with that video. Make sure to include them as well, because that will double the traction and double the reach, but it also makes them feel good, and it shows them that you went that extra mile.
yeah. And one other thing too, I was just thinking, if maybe you don't have the capability to really edit something, and say, hey, you mind if I stop by your restaurant, do a quick live video and say, hey, we're at,
Yeah.
it takes no time at all. It's done right away. It's something that you can post on your business page that's also going to connect them. You can tag them. It's a really quick way, and they can also share it. So you're definitely going to increase each other's, reach, certainly. But also it's a quick way to just, simply do a video, or, share some information about one of your clients.
Especially if you're going to be going to that place anyway, right? You're going to be taking your family there for dinner. You're going to be picking up your dry cleaning. You're going to be grabbing donuts for Saturday morning. You're killing two birds with one stone. Well, the only other tip that we have for you guys is to create a web page dedicated to that person. So I know it's kind of where do you put it on your website? How do you highlight it? I mean, you could even just add a page. You don't even make it accessible from the homepage at all. It's not like you have to create a whole new menu item of, in the community or anything like that. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but even just creating a separate web page, highlighting the video, talking a little bit about that person that you interviewed, and then sharing the link with that with your expert. People will think that you spent so much time and gave up precious real estate on your website to talk about them. It will make them feel so special, and 9 times out of 10 they will share that link around on their social as well, and link to it from their website, which again only creates more attention for the firm, which again, it's not what you're going after in the first place, but it's a residual benefit.
Absolutely. You're creating these friendships, really, that are going to certainly bring you more business in the future. And if you just throw these videos on YouTube, create a playlist, link them all together, you can even link that playlist on that web page. So that way, anytime you add a new video, it's going to update that playlist. It's going to put the new one first. So it's really updating itself as you go. It's no extra work on your end to get that web page updated if you just update YouTube link. So, just a quick tip on that. It's really, you can take it as far as you want. You can add so much more to it. You can create custom intros, outros, use them for the same video, really, kind of brand them all together. I think it all depends on your capabilities and what you have in house. But we're always willing to help you guys too. If you need anything from us, as far as building any of these, kind of maybe like a template that has, an intro and a lower third with their name that you can just plug in, outro. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you know somebody that would love to, sit down and chat with us, send us a message or whatever it is. I think you'd be surprised how many people would be willing to, join you for a conversation.
Especially all the fans out there. So if you say, hey, we want to do a bakery this month, tell us about your favorite bakery so that we can interview them. Can you imagine all the people who have nothing to do with your firm at all, who are going to be actively engaging on your social, wanting to give you ideas of their own favorites? It's, right. I don't know, just a nice way to make some connections.
Yep. It's all about giving back too.
Well, we don't have any questions right now on the Maximum Lawyer Guild Facebook page, but if you guys can think of anything, feel free to let us know. Send us an email, post it on the Maximum Lawyer page or the Maximum Lawyer Guild page. If you're a Guild member, you can tune in every week live, 12:30 Central, 1:30 Eastern on Wednesdays. But otherwise, everyone else should be hearing this podcast shortly as well. All right, if you guys don't have anything, if there's no one else out there who has any questions, we will sign off for this week and we will see you next Wednesday.
See you guys. Thanks a lot.